So I normally accost people that just come across my path with these real estate rants, but I guess I'm going to take them to the internet. I'm trying to be a better person. I need to get a bigger reach also for these rants. This first rant, my inaugural rant, it's so important that you hear this. Share this with a friend. Do not accept dual agency from a real estate agent. I'm sorry, realtors, you did hear me correct. I am telling your clients not to accept dual agency from you. Now, where exactly do I get off on my high horse telling people not to accept dual agency? So here's where I'm coming from. I'm going to tell you how I learned about fiduciary duty and dual agency. When I was just a baby property manager, I was just a couple of weeks onto the job and they sent me off to real estate class. And because I get straight A's, I was listening intently the first night when the teacher talked about fiduciary duty. Fiduciary duty was easy for me to learn. It really lined up with how I look at the world. Fiduciary duty is all about care, confidentiality, advocacy, honesty, loyalty, treating that client's needs above those of your own. So we would always be looking out for their interest above our own self-interest. And this is really intuitive if you understand the nature of professional careers and how those work, that this makes sense. And so first night, nailing it. Second night of class. Does this instructor not stand up in front of the class and start to teach us about dual agency and how great dual agency is and how it's allowed in Pennsylvania? So I just straight didn't get it. And I'm 22 years old, trying to get an A in this thing, trying to pass and get my license, impress my bosses. And I'm raising my hand every night of this 4-week class, trying to reconcile how the hell this teacher wants me to think that we're supposed to provide fiduciary duty to two parties on opposite sides of the transaction, usually presented in the class as buyer and seller, but could be landlord and tenant. It could be any number of things. And, every time I asked, this instructor would dance around and would talk about designated agency, would talk about informed consent, would talk about how this can be done and how walls can be put up. And I just never understood any of it. But I kind of figured this guy knew more than me. I mean, what was I going to do? Change it? But I work in the industry, and now I've worked in the industry over 20 years. I'm a broker of my own company. And I have to tell you, I have yet to see where dual agency is actually okay for consumers. Now, realtors, I know you're going to hate this, but that's okay. You hate an awful lot right now. And this, I think you need to answer for. If you are angry with me and want to tell me about it, please tell me how dual agency is actually okay for consumers. Tell me some examples of how it's worked really, really well, because I can't see how one person can provide confidentiality and true advice to a party without having the consideration of what they know about the other party. That doesn't make sense to me, particularly when the only incentive and motivation to you is the payment that comes when the two parties make and close a deal. That doesn't sound like it's going to work. As for me, I will never professionally do dual agency or accept it as a consumer.